He's Mike Florio, Football Night in America, Pro Football Talk. Pro Football Talk, the radio show, comes to NBC Sports Radio every day from 12 to 3 Eastern, January 5th, and Mike joins us on the show. Mike, the chances Sue's suspension are overturned are what?
Oh, I think there's a pretty good chance that the suspension gets overturned. This one wasn't nearly as egregious as what Dominic Raiola did when he stomped on Ego Ferguson's leg. And Sue's history wasn't mentioned anywhere in the letter from Merton Hanks suspending Sue. This isn't about his history. This is a standalone violation as far as the NFL is concerned. The NFL believes that this kind of behavior needs to be punished dramatically. The NFL, I believe, doesn't care if it gets overturned. The NFL is making its position clear. And sometimes the NFL tiptoes around these decisions because it doesn't want to be overturned through this independent appeal process. In this case, I think they really don't mind if it does, and I think it still could. It's going to take a lot to have a guy gone for a playoff game. And Ted Cottrell, who overturned a suspension of Ed Reed a couple of years ago, he may, by the end of the day, say that Sue can play on Sunday.
If you're looking at Sue as a free agent, and you're a personnel guy, how big a risk is he? I mean, he might be the best defensive lineman in the NFL, but there's an obvious pattern of behavior here.
Yeah, but it's not off-field stuff. It's on-field stuff, and you have to ask yourself, am I willing to deal with the possibility that from time to time I may not have this guy if, when I do have him, he's going to have the kind of edge that you hear about when folks talk about guys like Joe Green and Dick Butkus and the guys from, as plenty of fans say, when football was really football. So who cares about a fine? That comes out of the player's pocket. I still have the player on the field. He's only been suspended one other time, a 2-game suspension for stomping on the arm of Evan Dietrich Smith of the Packers on Thanksgiving in 2011. So, guys miss games due to injury all the time. I think it's very easy to walk through the maze that results in saying, you know what, I am going to go ahead and sign this guy. And you can put some protections in there so you get some money back or save some money if he is suspended for anything that he may do on the field.
Let's keep the money talk going. Mike Florio joining us here on the Dan Patrick Show. And the news came down about Tom Brady restructuring his contract. And I went to Pro Football Talk. I read your write-up twice. But for those of us who don't even know how to balance their own checkbooks, can you kind of put it into context what the restructuring actually means?
Yeah, it really doesn't mean all that much. Now, there's a PS to it that wasn't part of the initial report from ESPN. Tom Brady's getting a raise along with the agreement to make his fully guaranteed money just partially guaranteed. There's a requirement in the NFL that if salaries are fully guaranteed, the money has to actually be set aside in advance. So the Patriots, before this deal, would have had to put $24 million in escrow to pay out Tom Brady's base salaries for the next 3 years. Now that those base salaries are guaranteed for injury only, they don't have to take $24 million of their money and set it in an account. They can use that money now. Now, you would think that the Patriots have enough money that setting aside $24 million is no big deal. For whatever reason, they wanted to do it. And what Brady gets out of it, he gets a $1 million raise each of the next 3 years. So it's $27 million that will make the next 3 years. He's exposed to the possibility of being cut if they decide that he stinks. But when you consider that Jay Cutler got $22.5 million for this year, $27 million total for 3 years for Tom Brady, still a pretty good deal for the Patriots.
Today after Black Monday, Mike Florio, Rex Ryan seems to be ahead at the top of the list and getting to choose where he would like to coach next year. What's the most attractive job?
Well, I think the most attractive job is Atlanta, especially for a guy like Rex Ryan. Now, his name has not yet bubbled up onto the list, but it should, because he could go in there and do for that defense exactly what it needs. The defense has been the Achilles heel for this team the past few years. In 2012, when they were the number one seed to get to the playoffs, they couldn't hold a lead. They had double-digit leads, and they couldn't hold it. Rex Ryan has a lead like that, he's going to hold it. He's never had a quarterback like Matt Ryan. You keep the offensive staff in place, you put Ryan in charge of the team, and the Falcons all of a sudden become serious contenders again. And I think the Bears and the Raiders should be interested in him. For now, it looks like he's going to explore his options in TV, but I think it makes a lot of sense for him to be near the top of the list for a few of these vacancies.
Clear something up for me, Mike, because I've seen two schools of thought on the Atlanta job. I've seen it's a good job because Thomas Dimitroff is there, and I've seen it's not a good job because of the job Dimitroff has done putting this roster together. Which is more accurate?
I think the first one, that Dimitroff is there. Dimitroff is there. He's been an executive of the year in the past. Scott Pioli's there. He helped build the team that won 3 Super Bowls in New England last decade. And I think that now here's the thing, and this is why I think Dimitrov is still there, but there isn't a strong feeling of support for Dimitrov. I think Arthur Blank, the owner of the team, wants to wait and see who the coach is, make sure the coach is comfortable. If they get a guy they really like who wants to go in a different direction with the front office, then maybe they'll make changes. But I think that having Dimitrov there makes that job even more attractive. And I think Dimitrov will work with the coach. I think part of the problem is he worked with Mike Smith too much, gave Mike Smith what he wanted. Last year they wanted a couple of interior run stoppers on defense in Paul Soliai and Tyson Jackson, and that blew up on them. And Arthur Blank, the owner of the team, made reference to that yesterday. That's what Smith wanted. So, a new coach there is going to have input. Maybe not every coach's input, though, should be followed if the coach wants to remain employed.
Got about a minute left, Mike. If you're the new coach of San Francisco, whoever that is, what's the first thing you do with Colin Kaepernick?
Well, I take a real close look at every snap he's ever taken. I talk to everybody that knows him, that's played with him, and I try to figure out whether he's my guy. They've got a pay-as-you-go contract 1 year at a time. Maybe I give him 1 year to see what he can do. But I think that the bigger picture is, in looking for a new coach, you want to find a coach who is genuinely committed to Kaepernick and isn't just saying it to get the job, and that's not always the easiest thing to do.
Good to visit with you, Mike.
All right, take care.
It's Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk.
Radio show coming up January 5th.
The radio show, 12 to 3, starts January 5th.
Awesome.
On NBC Sports Radio.